If I don't get my way, if I don't make my way and then get my way, I mean, I could be a dick.
Brothers, don't just watch the conversations. Join our free 5-day challenge and start building the life God created you for. The link is below. What changes when Christ becomes first again, Danny, in your marriage?
I think for me, it allowed clarity for everyone's roles in our marriage and relationship. It just really clarified the expectations for us and the hierarchy, because I didn't have that. When I didn't have Christ kind of like as the first in our relationship, everything was either I'm blaming my wife or it's my fault. And that was it. It was like a battle instead. It was like a horizontal battle because there was no clear order for our family. So it's either, if it's not my fault, it's probably your fault. If it's not your fault, it's probably my fault. And that's it. That's just the way it goes. And so we're just this echo chamber between ourselves only. And only we had each other to blame. And we weren't looking for a perspective that was greater. That's like, hey, maybe look at it in a view that's not just your one-dimensional perspective. So for me as well too, it was like, it allowed me to really lead my family with authority versus me being the only authority. I mean, I could be a dick. I mean, a business owner. I've always been a go-getter. I've been a leader. And if I don't get my way, if I don't make my way and then get my way, like, what are we basing it off of, And so my wife was like, man, you're a dictator. You're like a dick. But for me, I'm like, I'm doing the best I can. This is what I know. This has got to be like, what other way do we have here? So I feel so self-responsible for the success of my family, where my wife was at with my kids and things like that. But all that pressure was on me. Like, I was the only decision maker. I'm the one that had to create the ideas. I was the one that had to implement, execute. Then I had to be the judge and jury. And it was just like, oh my God, this is a lot of hats for like one person. But it was a lot of pressure in my marriage because I was like, I need to be perfect. Because if I didn't...
Brothers, if this conversation is speaking to you, don't stop here. Join the free 5-day challenge and begin to apply these principles with other men in the King's Men.
Hats for like one person, but it was a lot of pressure in my marriage because I was like, I need to be perfect. Because if I didn't, then my wife and kids would suffer. So I put a lot of pressure on myself. And that pressure, no one told me to do it. I just felt like that was my responsibility and duty. And so when I did it God's way, it's like, hey, let's focus on God first, with my relationship with God first. I took so much weight off of me leading my marriage and relationship. I still lead my marriage and relationship, but now I'm like, okay, God, what do you want me to do about my marriage? How do you want me to treat my wife? How do you want me to raise these children that you've given me? And it becomes from a place of a lot more stewardship versus like ownership. Like, I had to own everything, which means the results as well. But it doesn't go well because everyone thinks you're a dick. I have to use my own energy and authority to control the situation, and no one got a voice. So that was my relationship with just seeking first the kingdom first. Because when I didn't have that, if I had a bad day, I would fold. All my boundaries and standards would fold. They would just drop. It's like, who am I holding accountable for? I'm the only person holding myself accountable. So if I didn't feel like it that day, then I wouldn't do it. I would be inconsistent. My wife was like, wow, you said this, but you didn't do this. You said that, but you didn't do that. Why didn't you do this for the kids? You said you do that. And it's just whatever worked best for me for that day,
Brother, if you're ready to stop doing life alone, then your next step is simple. Join the free 5-day challenge inside of the King's Men HQ. Then, when you're ready to experience true brotherhood, apply for the Forge. We'll see you inside.